You're listening to Ciminelli Chats, where we aim to share the latest Ciminelli company news, real estate industry insights, and announcements. Hi listeners, it's Grace Johnson. Before we get into this episode, a quick note. You may notice the format of our podcast is beginning to evolve as we head into our second year of recording, producing, and editing. We are constantly looking for ways to improve the content we deliver to you to make the most of Ciminelli Chats. Part of that means I will no longer be the only person you hear asking our guests questions, since oftentimes our entire marketing department is in the recording room. Creating a podcast was a small idea that blossomed into one of our favorite projects of 2022. And as we continue forward, we want to keep our content as entertaining, informative, and conversational as possible. So with that, thank you so much for listening to Ciminelli Chats and for all of your support so far. For this episode, we had the great pleasure of connecting with the founders of Buffalo's 360 Views, Tony Thomas and Jordan Scinta. Established in 2017, 360 Views set out to deliver high-quality digital content for real estate using the latest technologies available. We have worked with Tony and Jordan from the beginning and have always been amazed by the photography and videography they capture of our properties and available spaces. Their grit and go-getter attitudes have propelled their business into the success that it is today, and we loved getting to discuss the history of 360 Views, the future of visual marketing for real estate, and how technology is changing the industry for the better. We hope you love listening to this one as much as we loved recording it. All right, so just to kick us off, can you guys introduce yourself and then give us a little bit of background what you do at 360 Views?
Yeah. My name is Tony Thomas, and I am the president of 360 Views. You know, we don't really have roles, but it's just a label that we started the company with. It's basically just both of us.
Yeah. My name is Jordan Scinta, vice president. We, like Tony was saying, we wear a lot of hats within the company. It's about 5 years in, so we just keeping all the balls up and kind of wearing all the hats.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you guys meet? Are you friends?
We're friends, right?
Okay.
So we grew up in the same neighborhood, like 3 doors down. We've been friends basically since we were born. Our parents were kind of friends, and they were just forced play dates on us. And, that's how it was.
Awesome.
So that's kind of how it started. But
and then into that, like we did landscaping together because we were just trying to make money and we wanted to do it on our own. We were working. I think he was at Consumers, I was at Delta Sonic, and we were just like, hey, let's try to landscape. Let's do this. We just got different jobs, surfed through family, friends, and then we started actually going through all our contacts and just said, hey, we're going to reach out to every single person. It got to the point where it was called Dex and More. That was our name. We changed the D&M, but we did landscaping together and we loved it, and we just noticed that we liked working with each other. We wanted to work for ourselves and translate into the next step.
Yeah, that was like the coolest thing to us is like the harder we work, the more jobs that we get, it's all on us. We're both born and raised here. I went to UB right off the gates pretty much, and Jordan actually went to Duquesne for a year. And I visited him a few times. We just would have these conversations. We could make more than being told how much you could make and whatnot, especially at a young age. We're like, no, we want to do it ourselves. So in the summer we were getting that, and then in the winter we were really going back to our minimum wage jobs and school, and it was just like such a great time. Then back to like just a time where we didn't see it just wasn't fitting. It didn't feel right. So, after a couple of visits, Jordan decided to come back to Buffalo and just really hone in on something that we could do in the winter. And we didn't really know what that was. So just workshopping almost every single night, like in the basement, just talking, what are we going to do to make money? Like, how could we make money? And that's kind of when I stumbled upon this 360 camera that, I saw a YouTuber was using like a vlog. It was like very new at the time, and he was just walking around with the 360 camera, and I was watching the video. And man, it was just so cool that you could see his house. Like before, you just watched the 2D screen, but I was able to scroll around while he was talking, and that was like life-changing to me. I instantly thought of real estate and how we could offer that, and that's like the future of viewing houses. So that was really cool. Started doing research, and we moved back to Buffalo, and we just started rolling with that camera and about how
he was. So once he was kind of saying like, hey, I found this camera, like this could be an opportunity to present it to, home builders and realtors, all this good stuff. He's like, but he presented to a home builder, kind of liked it. It was all right, but they still needed like the regular photos because I think at the time Buffalo was still a little behind. Like out west, they were doing all the 360. They're doing drones, everything. But here, people were barely doing anything. So he's like, would you be willing to learn photography? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like I was just ready to jump on board. So, in between, actually during class, I'd be researching what cameras to get and like how to do things. And we would just put our heads down and we just like, at first it was really just the two of us, going into houses. And we laugh at it now because some of the equipment we used to use, like these bulky cameras. And it was like, we had this one thing called an Osmo, and it was like this camera, you control control the movement on your phone. The other person was like just watching the room and the camera. And we were both like, we just looked like idiots doing it. That was the simplest thing. We're just looking back now, like how the videos started and what they are now. So it was,
we start, learning, and, then we finally brought it to a real estate agent who loved it. And was like, and that's really who kind of taught me about like, we need real estate photos. Cause I showed him a 360 tour and he loved it, but he's like, I want these on all my listings. He was like a couple years into the industry and wanted to make a change and show something different to the market. So he loved it, but he still had to hire his other photographer because you still need photos for, the listing.
Yeah.
So that was when he was like, I would love it if you guys, learn photos or if you have a guy that and instantly I thought of Jordan because of the work ethic that we put together for landscaping. And this was right now at this point was just to do something in the winter. This was just going to be like a winter gig, and then summer we're going to go back to landscape.
Okay, so it really wasn't like a big goal at this point.
It was just how do we work
we didn't have the money for a plow, so let's just hold on.
Yeah, we had a Corolla and a Ford Fusion, so it was like we're not going to plow in the winters and do what the other landscaping companies do. And so we're like, okay, what can we do in the winter to make money? Because the summer, we're doing great. And then it just started snowballing, and he loved it. Jordan picked up the photos and got to a point where Jordan and I would go to every single shoot together. And then it was like, hey, let's separate. We'll do double. If, the demand started getting higher, then we started separating and, slowly worked up to, 5 years, 6 years later, we have 10 employees now. It blew up with the demand.
Yeah. It's fun to see too, like there was really no photography background whatsoever. Like it was just like so much research into it. We actually, we found ourselves enjoying it. It was kind of from like an interest in like just houses and architecture and, just overall real estate. So, and it just kind of transformed. Here, there was a white space in marketing. And so we're like, hey, we'll learn it. Let's see. And then we ended up being pretty decent at it.
Yeah, I would say, obviously we use you. So, but would you say that the demand has shifted then because we do video and still photography. Yep. So is it kind of like... So that was like, we shifted it because it was really just photos and a 360 camera. And that was, I did the 360 work, he did the photos. And then, once we started getting more clients that wanted just stills, I learned the stills side of things, and it started snowballing with that. Now all of a sudden we start seeing more and more just photos being booked, a couple 360s here and there, but it was still so new at the time. And so we started like experimenting with like other technology, right? So now it was like, okay, this could be our main thing. Yeah. Let's incorporate drones for drone photos as well as drone videos. And then we wanted to start doing interior videos to offer for a full package. We had to experiment with videos and buy, a bunch of different pieces of equipment, lenses, and tested it out and all this different stuff. And we started just adding to what the companies out west were kind of utilizing, and even up in Canada was way ahead of us at the time of people doing videos and drones. So we just called some of the companies that were like us but bigger, and because it's such a new industry that we were able to get a hold of the presidents and owners of these big companies in our eyes at the time because they were so new. So they were really cool with us, just telling us some stuff and helping us out. Those companies really helped us kind of shape our focus on what kind of packages we want and all that type of stuff. And again, pricing, like we had to just figure that out. Right.
Because it was never something, especially in Buffalo. A couple entrepreneurs who just love starting and creating the business, the branding, the logo, the design, and all that type of stuff that just gets us excited. It had nothing to do with photography. We just do it because that's what people wanted and needed. We really want to be, we wanted to be, I went to school for architecture at UB, so I've always had an idea of wanting to be a developer and just developing properties just to get
learn along the way too.
And just learn.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You get to admire the architecture and use your own skill.
Exactly. And help out, it was always just about helping out people show it off,
Yeah.
Better, because the drones add such a different perspective.
And going back to your question about like how it's shifted, like I remember when we did like one of the first drone videos, I remember it was, again, we look back now and it's so funny because the editing and the style of the shots that we got, it was just so amateur and just kind of like funny to look at. But I remember it was on Facebook and it was like 19,000 views. People were like, oh my God, this is a drone. Like it. And even now, like even to this day, there's some people that still are like, hey, you bringing the droid up? And people like are still, they don't know what it's called. They call Matterport Matterhorn. Like they
Matador. We get a lot of questions about.
So it's like, it's funny to see like people are slowly catching on though. And it's crazy because a lot of our clients, even with social media, they never even thought about posting anything there. And now we see a lot of our content like throughout the day. It's just this person posted it because that's where it's shifting.
Before we were in the industry, like Instagram obviously existed. Not many agents, maybe 5 that we worked with, had an Instagram.
Well, I don't even think Instagram offered videos longer than a minute.
So we were just scheduling meetings with offices and some of the big agents in the area just to sit down and not even to say we want to do your photos, but to tell them like, hey, you need a better online social presence. And we thought that it was just going to be helpful. So providing people with value before selling our services was something that really propelled us into like, oh, these kids are just trying to help us, and we're never trying to scam anyone or anything. It's just we want to take good photos for you, and make sure that the stuff that you're selling or promoting looks the best as possible.
I would say you all were ahead of the trend as far as Buffalo is concerned. We're always about 5 years behind.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, over the past, especially 3 years, have you seen people catching up? More people reaching out to you, needing these services?
I would say so, for sure. For definitely more companies just wanting, because I think they just want to mimic whatever everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
As far as company-wise, like drone companies, I don't see a ton just yet. I see like freelancers and other photographers coming up, but for companies, I definitely see that people are they want to get their presence out there. They know it's vital for their business and growth.
And with TikTok and the Reels exploding, a lot of agents are utilizing the photos and making their own videos or having us make Reel or TikTok style stuff for them. So people are starting to understand that it's an online game and you gotta play or at least be involved in some way.
For commercial wise, like I feel like it took a little bit more time for people to kind of get on the train because we always notice like people just taking iPhone photos and wait, just not honestly maybe like 3 photos max per listing, like just wasn't there. So especially like that market for sure has just taken off with just drone photos and just showing off your space.
The commercial agents, some of them we talked to them for many years, and especially in the beginning, and they're like, we want to show only 3 photos, because we want to get people in and we only want the investors that are serious to call us. We don't want it to look, so pretty and beautiful when it's really just an empty warehouse. Over time, more and more have been kind of hiring us because of the drones to be able to showcase, especially if it's a property, get the drone in the air of 100 acres and you can put a boundary of the property lines. That's a game changer on just viewing it. And I think more investors and people across the country and globe really want to see more. They want to see a little bit more, especially online. Everything's been online and only really
and not just the finished product, like the progress throughout too. People love that. That's something that we've seen too more in the past like year and a half. Just people wanting to document their construction projects from ground up to, if it's weekly, monthly, to send to people who aren't in the area, investors, and just to have for documentation. So that's been something that's been huge as well.
Wow. So I guess, did you notice this shift kind of gradually, or was there a big jump in 2020 when people physically couldn't be in spaces anymore?
That was a bigger jump for the Matterport, the 360 tours. Yeah, because we were off for like a month or so because of COVID, and then like as soon as they deemed us essential to go back in, they were like, I remember Tony's calendar was booked for like 2 weeks, just Matterport, like no joke, from like 8 a.m. to 6. It was insane. So that definitely took off a little bit more, I think, because it just showed that, hey, you don't really need to leave your space. Like there's tools out there. There's services that we can provide. So that kind of just got the ball rolling, which was funny too, because that's how we started the business from that. Yeah. So it really took until 2020 to really get
pandemic to open people's minds that they don't need to see 20 houses in person.
No,
you can see 20 online and then pick your top 2, and then if you want to go see them, you can. So that was really interesting to see, like, the progression of technology taking over, because at first they didn't have us in essential business. We were petitioning for, like, listen, instead of having X amount of people go and see these houses, there's only a few photographers in the whole area. So if you only have those people in the houses taking the content and then everyone could see it online, it had a lot less, footprints in the house, especially during that time when people were scared and didn't want people coming over and all that type of stuff. So, and they, after a month, they agreed and they opened it up for us. And ever since then, it was booming for months. For people our age or younger than us are still they're gonna want more of the technology side of stuff than going to see, especially like you're talking about 15-year-olds right now. I don't know. It's like it's gonna be a different world once they come up and they're the ones buying the houses. Who knows? But the longest time it's been like we just want to get the people in the door because then we can sell them. But I think that mindset is slowly changing over time just because of technology and how good it's actually getting.
I would think there's no going back. No. You're only going to move forward.
Exactly.
For sure.
Have clients shared if they're like sales for residential houses or even commercial real estate, are they getting better business after they work with you guys and that quality of
We've got some good testimonials. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to measure like, hey, are your photos the reason that it sold? It's harder because it's, but a lot of clients have said like, wow, my business has really like taken off because of, not only because it presents the property so well, but also that you're making the homeowners so happy, right? You're making their house the number one priority because you're adding all those services to it. So it really helps like their own agent's brand, which is great. But there's been a ton of testimonials of people.
There's one guy in particular, there's a few, but one guy in particular he was just really getting the photos with us for really since we started. And then I think it was last year he started doing the silver packages, which is photos, drone photos, and then a video of the exterior and inside just edited in one. So he added video and drone photos to his normal photos that he was always getting, and he said he jumped up his business like crazy because just updating from going from regular stills, what a lot of people were doing, to just the silver package made his business so much more lucrative just because of the leads coming in and the homeowners' reactions and
word of mouth
the word of mouth that brought in from that, just because people love their house and they love showing other people, hey, look what my realtor just got for me, look at this video. So the videos get shared a lot more, and it's way more likely that the neighbor or that person's friend is going to hire that agent because of the content that he got for the house.
In a way, you're an extension of the house. You're telling their story. So they appreciate that.
And that's why it's on our website. It has like our logo, and then right under it says, let us tell the story. So it's whether that's a restaurant, whether that's your wedding day, or a house or any type of commercial property. It's just showing and telling a story online that, is easier to consume than just words and a couple photos.
Okay. So you've branched out then outside of commercial real estate. So what else?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we do like restaurants and, manufacturing plants and weddings too here and there. It's kind of a thing that we've just, since we've got the skills from videography, we just started to kind of do. It's not our main focus, but it's also something that we'll take on. I think it's cool. It's cool too, like the restaurants and let's say like a mixed use building, because we have that background of the, architecture style photography and videography. So when you can show off a space, but also tell the story with it too, like certain restaurants have it, they just updated their place. So you can get that wide angle, really tell the story on the space and then also incorporate people and food. And so that's why I think it's worked. And they're fun videos, it's a little bit different. So it's kind of, a little more creative for us on different avenue.
Yeah, exactly. Real estate was just always it's what we say is like our bread and butter, because it gets, the most traction, and it's, you get different leads from it. That's why we love real estate so much, the different connections and the people we get to meet doing it. And covering all of really Erie County, you meet a lot of different people, and you open your eyes up to the city more. You're on the streets almost every day, a different area. So it's been really cool.
Track a lot of miles for sure.
Yeah, a lot of miles, a lot of drive. I mean, we go down to Ellicottville, drive all the way up north to houses right on Lake Ontario.
Wow.
Grand Island.
Because there's some days where if we're all on the field, 7-8 shooters. Like there's some people in Ellicottville one time, and then someone's in Rochester, the other person's in East Aurora, and it's like a lot of driving, but it's fun. We don't limit ourselves because it's like you never know. And, if we're not shooting, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
what would you say is the most challenging shot to capture?
There's some tricky shots for sure, like the tight houses, and even downtown, you got to be careful with all the buildings and like the
Oh,
radio signals always mess with it a little bit. So you got to, always have an eye on it. Those are a little tricky, but after doing it for a while, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Because if you go have a drone in the city and you're doing, one Seneca Tower and you're going to be in one spot, you can only get certain angles because if you go behind the building, you lose signal because of the taller buildings, and you lose signal. So all of a sudden your screen will go dark and you don't even know where the drone is.
That's not fun.
So you freak out. You got to drive closer to it. So those are very challenging for us to take the drone up. There's still always that little risk of crashing it or doing whatever. So
you have to get certified to do drones. Like you have to get a certification through FAA. So it's
what does that even look like?
It's like an online. Well, we took an online course, and it's just like it was 70 hours when I took it, but I think it's a little bit less now.
Okay.
We took an online course and then passed an exam, but learn all the error laws. It's kind of tough. But
those are all things you don't think about.
No, and you don't even need for the drone, but they make you get it to do a commercial.
Okay.
But it's really the first step to become a pilot. Like every pilot has this license, and you got to know like these things like METARs, cloud coverages,
crazy information that you just
it's wild. And it really has nothing to do with flying a drone.
I was gonna say
but it's
although you can't fly within a certain amount of miles to an airport, right?
And the drones now that we use, they don't even let you. So there's like a geofencing where in the middle of the air it'll just stop.
Whoa.
And then you can't go past it. And then sometimes if you are in that area, like hovering around the border for too long, it'll just say, landing in 90 seconds. So
they've gotten so smart with all the GPS.
Shut it down.
Wow. So if you're in one of the spots and you see you're outside and you fly towards it, it'll stop. But if you're in the spot, it won't even let you take it off, not even for a foot. So,
Do you ever run into like issues of people seeing the drone and freaking out?
Oh yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Neighbors, you just never know.
Really?
I mean, usually the cops are pretty
they don't
okay with it. They don't really ask for the light. They just make sure you're not doing anything because there's some people that are just flying and spying. We're doing our job, we're not doing anything stupid. You get some people that are just very protective and. We're just staying within our boundaries. We're staying under 400 feet. We're doing everything that's legal. So it's just you get some people that get a little
because they don't own the air rights to their house, and trying to explain that to them is very difficult. So they say, well, you can't be on my property above above my house, but legally you actually can. And they freak out on you. Threaten to call the cops. We've got the cops came multiple times. And, we just deal with it, and almost every single time the police officer was just really cool, and they were like,
what kind of drone is that?
They're usually they're that's a sick job you have, and they just say, well, you're not breaking any laws, so I'll just tell you.
They usually get into a conversation about, I have a drone, or I bought one for my son, or something. It's usually not a huge deal.
Where do you see your industry growing as far as technology is concerned? Do you see a new type of photography or virtual reality?
I'm always interested in seeing VR and AR, how that's gonna, have a role in it. Because we do virtual staging right now, which is a service where in the vacant properties you go in and we'll digitally put in furniture, design it, mess with the shadows too to make it really realistic. But I'm interested to see how technology advances with augmented reality and how we can utilize that with vacant spaces, or even just honestly, virtual reality tours with the agent. They'll do a video and they're explaining it, and then as you're watching it, you're just going around really immersive experience. I don't think technology is there just yet, but that's where I envision the 360 kind of molding in with the VR and AR.
Yeah, I mean, I think that VR is something that will be a normal thing in every household. Not just yet, but sooner than later. Like you said, the technology is only advancing, and I think that once those Oculus goggles and more homes, have at least one pair, just like phones, and how and who attacks VR first is going to be huge, because that'll be the next big jump, especially too with Web3 coming and the blockchain and all that different stuff. It's super exciting to see how different businesses could utilize it, because that'll be the next jump from like the internet was to us. It was very crucial to making a lot of people money, and there's different services, but I think that VR aspect is going to be really cool with house tours and that'll be kind of what we envisioned from day one. You know, with the name 360 Views, it's just I think it's
ready for the VR.
We're ready for VR.
Just waiting.
We're waiting. So I'm excited.
That too, and also like just the drones are insanely like they're just advancing insane. Every couple months there's a new drone. We're trying to keep up with it too. Like we try to keep at least one of the newer drones. Let's incorporate it, but just the quality like is going to continue to get better. And, with cameras too, just try to always advance yourself with the new equipment and new tech as well.
Is editing harder with drone footage than like a standard video?
It's a little. Sometimes it depends on what you're shooting in. Like our drones are shooting 4K, and some videos we're shooting 4K. Other videos we're doing 1080 for the interior footage. Right. So it just is more gigabytes, so it takes a little longer to render and things like that. But I don't know. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. Doesn't slow it down too much.
Yeah, no. But back to that virtual staging, it's like you said that. Have we seen people give us testimonials about like, oh, you guys have helped sell the virtual staging is like a very, has been like a clear cut, like that has changed it because we've had people and they've been trying to sell this vacant home, for months. And finally they would call us and get the virtual staging where we come in and, take our photos like normal, but then, we virtually stage the living room, the bedroom, maybe the den to show like what this room can, because it's kind of a weird room that it's hard to show off when it's vacant, but once you have it as like an office, it looks, that makes sense. So adding the virtual staging, we've seen people that have been struggling to list a house and sell it for maybe 3 weeks, and they got the virtual staging and those have sold like within 5 days after adding those photos to the listing. So that service alone has been like a very game-changing type of service because it looks super clean and
it looks real.
It looks real. Right. It's crazy with the shadows.
There's sometimes where I can barely tell.
Yeah.
If Tony's editing, I'm like, that looks so.
Yeah.
We've had to, and you can edit this out, but we've had to put a disclaimer on our photos because it looks so real that when people were interested in our apartment, they were like, "Where's the furniture?" when they show up.
And I always tell people like what I would do if I was an agent, and it's probably a little bit more money, but what I would do is if I hired and I got the virtual staging of a vacant property or whatever, I'd have like easels of the photos with it virtually staged. So then when they're there, like you could just show them like the big photo of it virtually staged and, say this is how it could look, so we always encourage to put the before and after in the listing. But also just print out an easel for say, because we only recommend doing 3 or 4 rooms. You don't want to do the whole house because it gets a little too expensive, but it's still cheaper than actually getting it staged too. So
will you ever expand into the commercial market as far as virtual staging goes?
Yeah, we've tested a little bit.
I would like to.
We're very interested.
Yes.
It's
going to take a little more like design, with different office furniture and things like. But it's definitely something that I'd like to offer for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that being really huge in like flex spaces too, where you could build it out in different ways. So maybe even visualizing like, okay, this is what a standard maybe office with cubicles would look like, and this is a more open floor plan. And
it'll take a little bit more kind of back and forth, a little planning, like a little more design,
a little bit more, someone on the team on our aspect of like a more of a designer that would be able to have the same room photo but mock it up 4 different ways.
Right.
This is more of a creative style. You add some color on the wall. You have a nice wood table. Some people want maybe more of a conventional look, and you give them 4 different looks in one room, and then they can help themselves when they decorate their new office space.
Right.
Stuff like that.
We've been talking a lot about like workplace strategy and even just space planning within an office and how that's shifted. So I wonder if that would maybe come into play someday, like actually working with companies and figuring out how to reconfigure their space from a virtual standpoint before you actually move forward.
I would say so.
That would be really cool and exciting to us because that's I love that stuff.
That'd be cool for sure.
Well, the Matterport, which is really cool, is they're incorporating, and we're still testing this out yet. It's not available, but also probably in the next 2 years, maybe less, they're incorporating virtual staging in Matterport. Which is going to be really cool.
Ooh,
so now you're looking at a 360 tour, and you could put virtual staging furniture in there. So that's really cool because if you take a virtual tour of an empty house, it's very hard to kind of get a layout. It's still nice to see because you're touring the spot, but if you're able to add virtual furniture inside of a space like that, I think that's another game changer.
I think they could go even like a step further. That's what I'm saying with the AR, like how they implement that, where if you're looking at the Matterport, the virtual stage, you're like, I don't really like that plant. Like you could swipe it out and check it out. Like that's where I think it's going to go with.
Or have glasses.
Or the glasses.
You go into a house and you preset virtual staging in the house, and then all you have to do is put on the glasses. It's just like the glasses that you have on, and now all of a sudden you see furniture.
Yeah.
So instead of that easel with the printed out thing, where's the furniture? You just give them the glasses.
Yeah.
And then they can start seeing furniture.
That's realistic. That really could be like.
That's where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they might not want photos. Honestly, might be the last thing people want. No.
Yeah.
It might be switching.
Yeah.
Just might be better. I don't like the current furniture. I want to see what I would put in there.
Yeah.
Like you get to pick your furniture, preset it in there, and then when you go see the house, you see like this is actually what I would be living in.
Yeah, it's going to get so smart, the technology.
It's definitely very interesting to see where it's going to go.
I could see that really excelling too in office tours, and when you bring through potential tenants, showing them, here's the pair of glasses, you put these on, here's what your space could look like. Now if you do this, it looks like this.
Preset, put their like sign or their logo on there.
Yeah. It would be really fun.
Yeah, AR is going to be really cool for like being out in public, where VR is more like a home thing because you got the glasses on, you can't see anything else.
Yeah.
Where AR is going to be a mix of virtual reality and real reality.
Yeah.
Where you could actually see things, where you're walking, but then also there's, things that, like, for example, if you walked into this building and say we had a meeting, and my Google Calendar linked up with the glasses, and as soon as I was in the building, it gave me arrows, almost like Google Street View on my phone. But it gave me arrows to your office.
Yeah.
And a name tag would pop above.
So that's where I see like the technology going. So who knows how it's going to look. But I definitely see a future where that's like.
A lot of people think it's going to be so bad because but there's going to be so many benefits for it. It's just going to make like the workplace more efficient. Just a lot of positives.
I think the AR aspect is going to actually enhance everyone's life. Like you could literally just type in on your phone like coffee, and boom, especially if you're in a city, it'll give you directions where you don't need to, look on your phone and be looking at this and okay, I got to take it right here. You're literally just going to be more immersed in the world because you keep your head up, you're outside your phone, and you're just looking, and your glasses are giving you the directions on what you have to do, and maybe there's notifications that pop up that are that you can see where you don't have to check your phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in the future, I kind of see it where it's just on your glasses. You don't need to pick up a piece of technology to see what's coming in.
Yeah.
You could really just manage it all through the glasses, and that's on them to design and make it better. So that's exciting us more than anything, really.
Yeah.
But
What about the coolest thing you've ever shot?
The coolest thing?
Fountain Plaza.
Yeah.
Fountain Plaza's got to be up there.
That's definitely top 3. I don't know the coolest thing. There's been some really cool houses.
Yeah.
Some of the houses that we do are awesome.
The houses, because we just love real estate, and we love
honestly.
Cool
last
design.
week was pretty cool. There was a helicopter bringing some cooling towers onto one side, and we were showing that. That was pretty sweet.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of fun that we do these different industries. Because doing restaurants, just get to see different things, and like manufacturing plants are cool too. You get to see the welders and how different things are made, and get to see a bunch of different stuff. So I don't know. I don't think I have one to pick, to be honest. But overall, if I had to pick one, like seeing the high-end houses, like those are always just my favorite.
My favorite's like a new build, like a home builder, like Natali or Buffalo Bungalow or Forbes. Like a lot of those companies use us. So when they have a new build or a custom house that's a little bit outside of like the cookie cutter stuff that they make, and you're the first one in there, and it just smells like a fresh house. Like that's just like the best feeling.
Yeah. Yep. That's fun.
That's always fun. And then I just love like the cool basements. Like I'm a huge basement guy. So
Man cave.
Anytime there's a sick basement where I could just envision chilling down there, like, I love it. I absolutely love it. So those are my favorite personally.
Yeah.
And the Christmas tree lighting will be cool.
Oh yeah, that'll be.
Oh yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
That will be really nice.
I'm excited for you guys for that one.
Yeah. Fun.
Every time we get the drone footage back from you guys, it's like a viewing party.
It is.
Yeah,
everyone huddles
so
around my
excited.
cube.
That's so cool.
We get so excited. This has been actually extremely insightful.
That's great.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. You guys have been a great partner from the beginning.
That's awesome.
I remember when we first met you guys.
And we feel like our price points are not where we're going to kill anyone.
That and your flexibility. Like, I feel like if I decide last minute, you know what, I do want a drone, I can call you guys up a tape before you might hate it, but I can be like,
that's
can
what
you guys
we
bring a
want
drone?
to do.
Yeah, and you will capture it.
That's why I want to like all of our current employees now, like we're still training them on every service. Like Adam's our main guy right now that does like everything.
Adam's who I've been working with a lot. He's probably sick of me.
He started with just residential, and now he does like, he can handle the commercial and all these different industries because they're a little different. Sometimes you got to adapt with if you're doing office space or so we're trying to get that where all of our employees are up to that standard where they can do everything. So it's taking some time, but
awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Russ.
He's one of our, he's another one of the guys who grew up in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
okay.
He's been one of our best friends since we were around all the same age. So it's really cool to have, work with your friends as well as just growing the business.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
Buffalo made through and through.
That's what we do. Buffalo.
Yeah.
That's how it is in Buffalo, but it's great.
Awesome.
We love it.
And it all started from the landscaping business.
Yeah, it all started just because we just wanted to not, get told what to do.
Yeah.
And that's just who we are. Let's just take over something because we have the ideas, we have the vision for it.
Yeah.
And it was fun for us. We would borrow my uncle's truck and we would go to Tim Hortons in the morning. We get our breakfast sandies and beans, and we would be like, we just kind of kept that people light atmosphere and just have fun with whatever we're doing. Like, don't put too much stress, but maintain that work ethic and don't let up. So stay true.
Awesome.
Thanks for doing that.
Where can we find you on social media?
360 Views, but it's spelled out. So you got to spell out 360 Views, and that's pretty much our handle on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which we really don't even have much videos on there. But we want to hire a social media person in the next maybe 6 months or so.
This is a free ad for that.
Free ad for that.
Yeah.
Anyone want to work for us social media wise? Because we're running our day-to-day stuff, and we don't have time to keep up on what the trending songs are, what the trending videos are, and all that. But they want to be involved in it. Having a social media manager that can kind of do, a bunch of our clients as well as our own, it would be huge. So we're looking at that. But at 360 Views for all that, and then our website's 360views.net. Again, all spelled out.
Nice.
So that's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it. This was awesome and fun.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Ciminelli Chats. If you are interested in seeing some of 360 Views' work, their socials and website are linked in the show notes. We can't recommend their services enough, and you'll see why after watching just one of their drone captures. We hope you all have a happy and safe holiday season. Until next time. This podcast is a production of Ciminelli Real Estate Corporation Marketing.